Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Cody Proctor. Let's start off tonight with breaking news. 3 people dead tonight and 1 hurt after a head-on crash on State Route 26 in Adams County. This happened near Connell. According to the Washington State Patrol, one of the cars was going eastbound on the highway when it crossed the center line and hit the other car head-on. Both the driver and the passenger of the eastbound car died at the scene. The passenger of the car that was struck also died at the scene. An ambulance took the driver to the East Adams Rural Hospital in Ritzville. WSB is investigating the cause of this crash. It's unknown, though, if drugs or alcohol were involved. Developing tonight, a 12-year-old girl's okay but shaken after she says a stranger grabbed her off her bicycle and forced her into a car. Now detectives with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office asking for the public's help tonight in this case. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk explains how she managed to get help.
That 12-year-old girl told detectives the man who abducted her eventually dropped her off near this Nom Nom gas station right off Highway 195. Those detectives now eager to learn who this man is, and they're asking people in the area to check their home security cameras. Just before 8 o'clock Thursday night, Spokane Sheriff's deputies and Spokane police officers responded to the gas station. A clerk called 911 after a terrified 12-year-old girl walked into the store.
17 South Cheney, Spokane. The female that came up to the complaint advised that she was taken and pushed into a car, and that vehicle just dropped her off at this location. It's like, shit, we're on the line with Dad now. We're trying to get more information.
The young girl told detectives she was riding her bike along South Abbott Road when she says a man grabbed her from the bike and forced her into his car. The sheriff's office says she did her best to remember where they drove and thinks the man went north on Abbott to West Thorpe, then turned east, which eventually runs into 195. He took a right turn and headed south on the highway before exiting at Cheney Spokane Road, where he stopped and pushed her out of the car.
Suspect took her to the Nom Nom, pushed her out of the vehicle, and then the vehicle left southbound.
The sheriff's office says the young girl was scared but not harmed. No witnesses or potential video evidence have been found. The suspect was said to be a white man driving a newer, dark-colored vehicle. According to deputies, due to the emotional trauma and the young age of the victim, this is all preliminary information and no other details can be provided at this stage of the investigation. That's why detectives are asking people living in the area to report any suspicious activity or vehicles they saw Thursday between 5:45 and 9 p.m. They're also asking people to review their security cameras. In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Kyle, thank you so much. In the meantime, our other top story tonight is your forecast. With the 4th of July rapidly approaching, wildfire danger remains high tonight. For what we need to know, let's get right to it with Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legault.
Check out how beautiful it is outside tonight. That's absolutely incredible. And it looks like Riverfront Park is still going. And it's quite warm. How about this one for you? 79 degrees, even warmer than last night. Well, same as last night at this time, actually. And when it comes to the weekend, we've got red flag warnings in effect, and those stretch from the foothills of the Cascades straight through much of eastern Washington and down into Oregon. High fire danger for hot, dry, and windy conditions. We'll watch that wind pick up basically tomorrow morning. Wind will get stronger and stronger throughout the day. We'll see wind gusts to 30, even 40 miles per hour later on in the day. I think the strongest wind's going to be right around sunset, and then it will slowly die down overnight as we usher in a new air mass. That new air mass, much cooler than the one that we are currently in. Much cooler? Well, all right. We were at 90 today, 90 tomorrow, and then in the mid-80s Sunday and Monday.
Jeremy, thank you so much. Well, new tonight, a well-known Republican appears to be entering the race for Washington State Governor. Former Representative and King County Sheriff Dave Reichert filed the paperwork earlier tonight. According to the state's Public Disclosure Commission website, Reichert registered as a candidate. He has a long resume in our state. He was a longtime King County Sheriff's deputy and detective, best known for arresting the Green River Killer. In 2004, he won a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives that he held until 2019. Governor Jay Inslee announced at the beginning of May he doesn't intend to seek re-election. Reichert would be joining a race that includes Public Land Commissioner Hillary Franz and State Senator Mark Mullet. Meanwhile, State Attorney General Bob Ferguson says he's exploring a possible run. Let's go now to Nightbeat for a quick look at the day's top stories. The judge presiding over the case of the man accused of murdering a family of 4 in Kellogg issued a gag order. The order prevents investigators, attorneys, witnesses, or anyone else involved in the case from talking to the media. Prosecutors say Major John Kaler admitted to killing his 4 neighbors after he accused the oldest son in the family of lewd conduct in front of his young children. He now faces charges of first-degree murder and felony burglary. If convicted, Kaler faces life in prison for each of the murder charges. Loved ones celebrate the life of Leticia Martinez tomorrow. She's the woman you may remember who went missing after she didn't return home from a Mariners game back in March. Her body found 10 days later in Renton. The man accused of killing her faces several charges, including second-degree murder. The celebration of life takes place at the Alki Masonic Center in West Seattle tomorrow. And Washington Governor Jay Inslee paid a visit to Spokane today. There, he spoke about the recent closure of the homeless encampment near Interstate 90 and what it could mean for tackling homelessness statewide. The governor celebrated what he says isn't just a Band-Aid, but a solution to homelessness, a solution he now wants to see implemented statewide.
And we were able to pull together all of our skills and work together and work with different agencies and different knowledge sets in order to make this happen.
Inslee also toured the Catalyst housing development, where he heard more about the
collaborations keeping the formerly homeless housed. He points to a $1 billion allocation the legislature approved, which will build more affordable housing. He also wants to expand programs like Catalyst to convert existing buildings into shelter quickly. But above all, he says there needs to be ongoing collaboration. And that was your Nightbeat. To learn more about any of these stories, text the word night to 509-448-2000. We'll send them right to your phone. In a 6-3 ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court killed President Joe Biden's $400 billion plan to cancel or reduce federal student loan debts for millions of Americans. The president immediately denounced the ruling, calling it a mistake. Now he's announced an alternative effort to provide debt relief by using a provision from the Higher Education Act of 1965.
This new path is legally sound. It's going to take longer, but in my view, it's the best path that remains to providing for as many borrowers as possible with debt relief.
In her dissent, Justice Elena Kagan says Congress authorized the plan, but that the court overrides the combined judgment of the legislative and executive branches, with the consequence of eliminating loan forgiveness for 43 million Americans. Student loan payments have been on hiatus since the start of the pandemic. With the court's ruling, those bills will be due again within months. Now, in our effort to bring you more to every story, we went to a financial expert to find out what you can start doing today to be prepared for when those payments are due once again. Financial engagement manager John Maroney with New America says you can prepare for these payments by reducing spending on things like eating out or entertainment. He says to also prioritize paying off your loan first before making other big purchases or find a way to increase your income.
Maybe start a side hustle that allows you to make enough to afford that student loan payment so it doesn't adjust your spending too much.
Maroney says reach out for help if you're stressed or overwhelmed. In the meantime, before going on summer recess, the High Court also handed down a defeat for gay rights, ruling Lori Smith, a Christian web designer, can refuse to make wedding websites for same-sex couples. Writing for the majority, Justice Neil Gorsuch said, quote, Colorado seeks to force an individual to speak in ways that align with its views, but defy her conscience about a matter of major significance. Meanwhile, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote in a dissent, quote, today the court, for the first time in its history, grants a business open to the public a constitutional right to refuse to serve members of a protected class. Critics of the decision worry it could open the door to discrimination against other groups based on race or religion.